Welcome to Business Daily on the BBC World Service. I'm Deborah Weitzman. Today, we're discussing budget-friendly bridal fashion amidst rising living costs for couples.
Weddings are expensive, man. When we were looking at what we were going to spend on my dress, it was a little bit more like, well, why does it have to be thousands of pounds and what else could we spend that money on?
We'll explore demand for cheaper off-the-rack wedding dresses, as well as sustainable choices like second-hand and rentals.
What a pity to kind of wrap it up in plastic and just never see it again. I think consumers these days are shopping with their wardrobes and sustainability so much more front and centre.
Also, we'll be investigating India's affordable high-end bridal replicas.
The designer may spend 3 or 4 months making a particular collection, but as soon as it comes out, you can really create a product very fast. It's a loss of face.
That's all coming up.
Welcome to our bridal suite. I'm so happy to have you here today. We'll take a seat on the chaise longue and then we can kind of look through the collection. So if someone wants something a bit more slinky, we've got those real kind of like lovely strapless pieces that the bride can wear that's not a big puffy, heavy ball gown where you just don't feel yourself.
Meet Henrietta Rix, co-founder of the British fashion label Rixo. I'm currently at their brand new flagship store, located in the heart of Chelsea, which is one of London's most fashionable neighbourhoods.
We have the party pieces which have the sequins and the feathers.
So what really stands out to me is the fact that these are ready-to-wear off-the-peg pieces. That must really simplify the shopping process for your brides.
100% different. We offer our styles from a UK size 6 to a size 20. So when the bride's trying on or looking at something, she doesn't have to wait 3 to 6 months for something to be custom made, to have several fittings, to travel to those fittings, take days off work, which I think is maybe a little bit dated now. She can really actually come in, have one appointment, and then actually go home that day with that piece.
How much are your dresses?
I mean, most of our dresses range around the £400-500. Traditionally, maybe 5 years ago, there's no way you would find a bridal dress for that price point. To have anything tailor-made, you're talking minimum £1,000 upwards.
Here in the UK, brides shell out an average of £1,350 for their dream gown. That's around $1,700.
I am Dr. Serena Dyer and I am Associate Professor of Fashion History at De Montfort University in Leicester in the UK. Quite famously, Queen Victoria is credited with popularising the white wedding dress from her wedding in 1840, but she certainly didn't invent the tradition. Mary Queen of Scots, for example, is believed to have worn white to her first wedding in 1559. So in European cultures, the white dress has become synonymous with the traditional wedding. The colour white has been associated with purity and virtue. It's also a colour that's quite hard to keep clean and launder, an opportunity to show off that you could afford this garment that would be impossibly impractical for day-to-day wear.
Fast forward to today, what traditions are brides bypassing to get the type of wedding look they're perhaps more comfortable with?
We're seeing both brides and grooms being more willing to express their own needs, whether that's through playing with gender norms, playing with colour, and the merging of cultural traditions. From a financial perspective, perhaps family inheritances for those lucky enough to have generational wealth are going towards house deposits rather than wedding dresses.
Fashion historian Serena Dyer there. Let's now return to the bridal showroom. Henrietta told me how proud she was to have launched their affordable wedding dresses during the pandemic, at a time when people were having to plan more minimalist celebrations.
We were almost ahead of the curve because we knew that people were starting to change their kind of ideas on how much they wanted to spend on a wedding and how ridiculous it was getting. And actually loads of our friends were still getting married, but they were doing the smaller wedding where I think the rules were 30 or 50 people in their back gardens. They didn't feel comfortable wearing a massive big poofy gown, something that wasn't in keeping with the venue and how things had changed. Coming out of COVID, people realised that you can actually be quite savvy with how you spend your money, just in keeping with people's lifestyles nowadays.
Are you finding that more and more brides are looking to buy things that they can re-wear after their big day?
So they are pieces that we really do believe you can evolve into your wardrobe. It's not a one-time wear, especially the separates that you could wear the little white jacket with some jeans. or those dresses you could take on your honeymoon.
Somebody has just arrived for a private bridal styling appointment, and a kind sales assistant is welcoming them with some Prosecco.
I'm Emily. We're getting married in Wantage in Oxfordshire. It's this gorgeous wooden kind of Tudor era barn. Weddings are expensive, man. When we were looking at what we were going to spend on my dress, it was a little bit more like, well, why does it have to be thousands of pounds, and what else could we spend that money on? And the honeymoon's our big one, and we were big into travelling.
So what are you looking for today?
So there's some lovely ones with like ostrich feathers and glitz and sequins, and that's definitely my sort of vibe, rather than kind of your traditional plain white dress.
You're going to try on some dresses then?
Sure, let's go for it.
Oh, Emily, you look gorgeous.
Oh, that's fun.
You know, I'm in my 60s, and 40 years ago when we got married, wedding dresses were traditionally kind of made for you for that day.
That's Emily's mother.
But, I mean, being here and looking around the room, I'm absolutely blown away. It is a different style, but I kind of think it's very contemporary. You've got to go with the times. I think they're reasonably priced, they're sensibly priced, which I think is more approachable for most people, which is lovely. Give us a twirl. Oh, and slowly, do it again slowly. Wow, beautiful bride.
This is the one?
Yeah, I think she's definitely the one. Decision made.
Thanks so much to Emily and her mother for letting me record with them as they selected a dress for her very special day. So Emily spent around £400 in the end, which is approximately $488. Next on my list, Sainsbury's, which is one of the UK's largest supermarket chains. People all around me are adding staples like eggs, milk and bread to their shopping trolleys. But there's a new product that customers can now reach for on the aisles. Just this month, Sainsbury's has become the first supermarket to launch a bridal range. Doing so because of the cost of living crisis, which has sent bills and food prices soaring in the UK.
They're selling their wedding dresses in their clothing part of their stores, which is called Tu. It's a massive, big part of their business. It's worth about £1 billion.
That's retail analyst Catherine Shuttleworth. And £1 billion is just over $1.2 billion.
And you can buy all your clothes for your kids, for men, for women, from shoes to coats to going out outfits. And now you can buy wedding dresses too. And these start at only £22, up to £68 for a kind of look-alike outfit to the classic Bianca Jagger suit that she wore when she married Mick Jagger.
Are we caring far less about the dress then? Buying a wedding gown in such a mundane setting, such as where you do your weekly shop, seems to speak volumes.
There are some who want to go through that whole process of going to a bridal shop and having that special moment. But equally, there are loads of brides who want to be able to get married their way and do things on their terms and on their budget. I think we still really care about how fantastic we look on our wedding day, and that, you know, we've got an obsession across the world with all these fantastic TV programmes like Say Yes to the Dress.
This is my dress. I say yes to this dress.
Social media content showcasing dresses for every kind of wedding. But we are being really choiceful about how we invest in weddings, and more brides and grooms are thinking about the event itself rather than the clothes they wear.
Across the world, many brides in India are also opting for scaled-back wedding attire, as the BBC's Davina Gupta has been finding out.
It's the wedding day of Kavya at her home in the western Indian city of Goa. Guests cheer as bride walks down the courtyard, which is decked with orange and yellow marigold flowers. She's dressed in a 9-yard of silk sari, with golden threads weaving intricate patterns on it. Speaking to me later, Kavya says that at that moment she felt it was the right decision to not spend lavishly on her wedding dress.
Some people want to have bigger weddings, they want to wear more expensive clothes, they want to show to the world how much money they have. That's not us. I literally spent around 50,000 rupees, which is approximately $605. And if you compare that to what a bride would probably buy one outfit for, a lehenga from a top designer in India like Manish Malhotra or Sabyasachi, they'd end up spending 5 lakh rupees for just one lehenga, or one sari, which has heavy sari work, would be around that much.
Which would be around $5,000. and above. Usually there is a lot of pressure from the society to have this big fat Indian wedding. So your decision to save this money, did that sort of have any kind of social conversation or impact around because of your choice?
We wanted it to be about the people who were coming to celebrate a new beginning with us. And we were happy to spend money on putting them up properly. The best thing was, because we didn't spend money on over the top outfits, etc., we could use that money to curate very nice meals for each occasion. So they enjoyed the food, they enjoyed the decorations. Again, that was very simplistically done. It was about, enjoying the moments with the people who matter so much more than the outfits that I'll probably wear once or twice in my life and then put them away.
But as more and more couples here choose a budget wedding wear, how is it impacting the multi-billion-dollar wedding couture industry? Felix Bandish is a popular fashion designer, known for his signature embroidery work on the Indian wedding gowns. I met him in London, where he unveiled his latest collection at the Fashion Week.
Welcome to Fashion London, SS24.
Even the designers are aware, you can't be exorbitantly expensive. You have to reduce your price to a certain extent. The brides are not spending so much. They want to enjoy other things also.
So how much, say, is the cost difference then from, say, earlier a bride would spend so much and now on an average it's come down?
That's very subjective, but I think it's easy 30% down, 30 to 35%.
This is a bustling wedding bazaar in Chandni Chowk. There are shops on both sides of the narrow lane. If you look about, you can spot replicas of the season's latest luxury wedding lehengas or skirts displayed on their windows. This is the business of copycat designer wedding wear. Sunil Sethi is the chairperson of the Fashion Design Council of India, and he tells me how quickly these dresses are made and sold.
The designer may spend 3 or 4 months making a particular collection, seeing exactly where a particular pattern will fit, where the embroidery will go, where they can do with handmade embroidery. But as soon as it comes out, you can really create a product very fast. And when I say very fast, I really mean in 20 days, in 1 month's time.
Is there a way to spot it? A rip-off from an original one, or are they pretty much accurate?
No, they are not accurate at all. But to the consumer and to the naked eye, it looks similar. Because, how will you differentiate a machine-made embroidery with a handmade embroidery? A guy may have spent 1.5 months to hand embroider the piece. And in the machine embroidery, if he can manage to do it in 6 or 7 days, then obviously he's going to be able to get he's getting an added advantage and more than a month. For somebody to buy a piece and copy it and make 20 pieces is no big deal then, you see.
In that sense, what's the loss of revenue for the original designer and then the wedding fashion industry?
So it is not necessary that the person who buys the fake is the customer of the fashion designer.
Of course.
But at the end of it, it's a loss of face, because then somebody may come in with that same design and say, my cousin bought this for 1.5 lakhs and you are sending it for 7 lakhs. How is that possible? The struggle of the couture designer and the wedding designer is to come up with a new range of 50, 70, 100, 30 new pieces, season after season after season. That is the main problem. Look at the hard work that goes through, and then it goes on and on and on and on.
Thanks to Davina Gupta for that report.
Oh my gosh.
Where do all your old clothes really end up?
Ultimately, it is going to end up in the landfill.
There is a growing awareness of the environmental consequences associated with crafting a gown that's destined to be worn for just a single day. Let's meet our next bride, Ruth, from London. She chose to buy a second-hand dress over the internet for her wedding, which took place over the summer.
I'd been looking for a while. I had quite specific requirements that I wanted. I didn't want lace. I wanted off the shoulder. And then one day, one I really liked popped up.
What made you consider going for a second-hand wedding dress, especially when so many brides are incredibly excited to unveil a totally unique brand new gown on their big day?
Because for me, I buy all my clothes, or majority of my clothes, secondhand. In line with that, I'll also be selling it. I understand that's not for everybody, and some people want really unique dresses designed for their day, but you can always get things altered and changed and added to it to make it special.
I wanted to find out more about this growing trend in eco-friendly bridal wear, so I sat down with Charlotte Collins, editor-in-chief at SheerLuxe, which is an online lifestyle magazine that has a monthly wedding supplement. Charlotte told me that the rental market is booming as more of us look to reduce fashion waste.
I think consumers these days are shopping with their wardrobes and sustainability so much more front and centre. So it makes total sense that when it comes to this one big investment, that same shopping ethos that I think so many of us are applying to our everyday wardrobes would kick in. You know, what a pity to kind of wrap it up in plastic and just never see it again.
Yes, renting a gown means you don't need to worry about storing it. So apart from the affordability and sustainability that the rental market offers, why else could today's brides be tempted to hire out a dress?
There seems to be a kind of added Instagram pressure of having multiple outfits, which is totally understandable. You want to change to be comfortable, or you might be doing a civil ceremony. You know, so many people are committing to more than one look. So I think the rental market is particularly helpful for that.
I'd be a bit anxious, I think, to rent something for my wedding day. I mean, first of all, you wouldn't be sure that it would fit you properly, and you're obviously not able to amend it or alter it, which you could do with a pre-loved dress, for instance. But then there's also the fact that you want to really enjoy your wedding, and I'd worry about getting a bright white garment dirty or damaged.
A lot of the rental platforms make it relatively risk-free, so many of them offers a try-on set option before you go ahead and rent something, so you can get it sent to you, try it on, and then rent it for a later date. And then look, yeah, you want to be able to enjoy your night, and I know my dress was full of fake tan. I'm sure there are worse hazards, but again, most of them have their own in-house dry cleaners, etc. So as long as you're not too raucous, then you should get away with it.
SheerLuxe's Charlotte Collins there. And a big congratulations to all of the brides who joined today's episode of Business Daily, which was presented and produced by me, Deborah Weitzman.